Which one is actually better, Semantic Kernel or Langchain? Because if you're building AI apps in 2026, choosing the wrong framework early can seriously waste months of development time. And honestly, one of these is clearly better for flexibility and ecosystem support, but the other one might actually be the smarter choice for enterprise developers and Microsoft-heavy environments. So yeah, this comparison isn't as simple as one wins everything. All right, let's quickly explain what these tools actually are. Langchain is probably the most recognized AI application framework right now, especially for Python developers. It's designed for building AI apps, agents, workflows, RAG systems, chatbots, and integrations with tons of different AI models and services. Semantic Kernel, on the other hand, is Microsoft's AI orchestration SDK. It focuses heavily on integrating AI into enterprise applications, especially inside the .NET and Azure ecosystem. It supports C#, Python, and Java, but it's clearly strongest in Microsoft environments. Both frameworks can connect to LLMs, tools, vector databases, and multi-agent workflows. But philosophically, they feel very different. Langchain feels like the fast-moving experimental AI playground. Semantic Kernel feels more like structured enterprise engineering. And honestly, that difference becomes obvious pretty quickly once you start building with them. Starting with features, Langchain is honestly massive. It has one of the largest ecosystems in AI development right now, with integrations for countless models, vector databases, APIs, and tools. It also connects closely with LangGraph for advanced workflows and LangSmith for monitoring and debugging. If you're building complex AI agents, RAG pipelines, or experimental workflows, Langchain gives you insane flexibility. Semantic Kernel is more focused and structured. Instead of trying to support everything under the sun, it's designed around cleaner enterprise orchestration patterns, plugins, planning systems, and Azure integrations. And honestly, if you're already inside Microsoft's ecosystem, Semantic Kernel feels much more natural, especially for C# developers. One important thing, though, in 2026, Microsoft has started shifting more focus toward the newer Microsoft Agent framework, which combines ideas from Semantic Kernel and AutoGen. So technically, Semantic Kernel is evolving into something larger rather than disappearing entirely.
Now, in terms of actual development experience, this depends heavily on your stack. If your team is Python first, Langchain is honestly hard to ignore. The tutorials, community support, GitHub projects, YouTube content, and integrations are everywhere. Rapid prototyping is where Langchain really shines. You can build surprisingly advanced AI workflows very quickly. But there's also a downside to that speed. A lot of developers complain that Langchain evolves too fast. APIs change, integrations break, and documentation sometimes struggles to keep up. Semantic Kernel feels slower and more structured. That can sound boring, but enterprise developers often prefer stability over chaos. The framework follows patterns familiar to .NET teams, including dependency injection, plugins, and enterprise architecture concepts. So while Langchain feels more innovative and experimental, Semantic Kernel often feels cleaner inside production business systems. Langchain pros: huge ecosystem and community. Excellent for Python developers. Tons of integrations. Strong support for agents and RAG workflows. Great for rapid experimentation. Langchain cons: can feel overly complex. Documentation changes quickly. Some integrations become outdated fast. Stability can be inconsistent in fast-moving projects. Now, Semantic Kernel. Semantic Kernel pros: excellent for .NET and Azure environments. Cleaner enterprise architecture. Strong Microsoft integration. More structured plugin and orchestration approach. Easier for C# developers to adopt. Semantic Kernel cons: smaller ecosystem. Less community content compared to Langchain. Fewer integrations overall. Microsoft's transition towards agent framework creates some uncertainty. And honestly, security discussions have become more important too. Recent reports around AI orchestration vulnerabilities reminded developers that both frameworks carry risks if tools and permissions aren't managed carefully. So, if we're being real, Langchain is the better choice overall for most developers right now. The ecosystem is simply too big to ignore, especially if you're working in Python, building AI startups, experimenting with agents, or rapidly prototyping applications. But honestly, Semantic Kernel wins for a very specific audience: enterprise.NET teams deeply invested in Microsoft and Azure infrastructure. That's where it genuinely feels stronger and more natural. Who should choose what? Choose Langchain if you're a Python developer, you want maximum flexibility, you're building experimental AI agents or RAG systems, you want access to the biggest AI ecosystem. Choose Semantic Kernel if your company runs on Microsoft technologies, you primarily use C# or .NET, you care more about enterprise structure and Azure integration, you want cleaner enterprise orchestration patterns. Anyway, guys, that's the comparison. Are you Team Langchain or Semantic Kernel in 2026? Or are you already moving toward newer frameworks like LangGraph or Microsoft Agent Framework? Let me know down in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more honest comparisons.